The issue is not Christianity. The issue is turning Christianity into a political operating system. That distinction matters. In a free society, people should be allowed to believe in Christianity, practice Christianity, go to church, pray, read scripture, raise their families with religious values, and organize their lives around their faith. That is religious freedom. The problem begins when a religious identity tries to capture the government and make itself the official framework for everyone else. That is Christian nationalism. It takes Christianity out of the personal and spiritual space and turns it into national identity, law, education, public morality, and political power. And once that happens, the question is no longer, do Christians have freedom? The question becomes, which version of Christianity gets control? Because Christianity is not one single political program. Catholics, Protestants, evangelicals, Orthodox Christians, progressive Christians, conservative Christians, black churches, white churches, and independent churches do not all agree on theology, morality, law, or politics. So when someone says America should be a Christian nation, the obvious question is, whose Christianity? Which denomination? Which interpretation? Which political faction? And who gets to decide? That is where the danger starts. Once the government enforces one religious identity, it does not only threaten non-Christians or secular people, it also threatens other Christians. If your version of Christianity is not the version that captures the state, your conscience can become a problem too. That is why separation of church and state matters. It is not anti-Christian. It is a protection system. It protects the government from being captured by one church, and it protects religion from being corrupted by political power. Because the state has force, the state can make laws, punish people, regulate schools, and decide who gets treated as fully legitimate. So when religion becomes government power, faith stops being just faith. It becomes policy, it becomes hierarchy, it becomes enforcement. Religious freedom means you can live by your faith. Christian nationalism means other people may be forced to live under your faith. That is not freedom. That is domination dressed up as faith. Christians have the same right as everyone else to vote, speak, organize, and advocate for their values. That is democracy. The problem is when any religious group says, our identity should rule the system itself. That is not participation. That is capture. So the clean version is this. Christianity as personal faith is protected. Christianity as culture is allowed. Christianity as moral influence is part of public debate. But Christianity as the operating system of government is the problem. Because once any religion becomes the state's operating system, freedom becomes conditional. And conditional freedom is not real freedom. It is permission. That is why Christian nationalism has to be challenged clearly. Not by attacking Christianity, but by defending the boundary between personal faith and public power. Because when that boundary disappears, everyone's freedom is at risk, including Christians themselves.